Entering Wednesday, with 5 games left to play in the NBA's 2019-20 regular season, the Houston Rockets could still finish anywhere from No.2 to No.7 in the tightly packed Western Conference standings. The Rockets, 42-25, have already clinched their spot in the 2020 NBA playoffs, which will begin around August 17th. But as far as postseason seeding and matchups, much remains undecided heading into the final 5 games. As a reminder, all 22 teams invited to the league's restart at Disney World are playing 8 regular season contests. Houston cannot finish in a tie with Dallas 41-29, or Denver 44-23, due to uneven schedules, with both having played more games than the Rockets at the time of the season's COVID-19 hiatus in March. In cases where games are not even, the NBA is deferring to winning percentage to determine placement in the standings. Even with unbalanced schedules, both the Mavs and Nuggets still figure heavily into tiebreaker math for the Rockets, considering the role of division winners in those procedures. In ties involving 3 or more teams, the initial criteria is that a division winner wins a tie over a non-division winner. In 2-team ties, it's second after head-to-head results. Division importance. Based on the importance of a division championship, the Rockets can generally be expected to fare well in most ties. Here's why: with 5 games left, the Rockets lead Dallas by 2.5 games in the Southwest Division. The only way Houston doesn't win the division is if the Mavericks outplay them by at least 3 games over the final 5, i.e. the Rockets finish 1-4, while Dallas goes 4-1. This is why Houston's comeback win over the Mavs last Friday was so critical. Should the Rockets collapse down the stretch, it would almost assuredly mean that a 3-way tie isn't possible, anyway. For example, the Rockets are currently tied in the loss column with Utah 42-25 and Oklahoma City 41-25. The only way Houston doesn't win its division is if it loses at least 3 of the final 5 games, and if that's the case, it's hard to envision both the Jazz and Thunder doing the same. The Jazz, Thunder, and Los Angeles Clippers 45-22 are all teams that can finish in a tie with the Rockets, since 72 regular season games will be the final total for each of them. Assuming Houston holds off Dallas, here's a look at the various potential scenarios that could be in play. Utah Jazz and Oklahoma City Thunder. If Houston ends up in a 2-team tie with the Jazz or Thunder, the math is simple. The Rockets would win it against Utah by virtue of winning 2 out of the 3 games this season. Houston would lose a tie versus Oklahoma City, since the Thunder took 2 of 3 from the Rockets. But what happens if all 3 end up tied? That's where it gets complicated. At the moment, should all 3 teams win out, remember, they all have 25 losses. That's exactly what would happen.